What's going on, everyone? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a solar hunter build that revolves around the exotic Star Eater Scales. Star Eater Scales exotic perk reads as follows. Feast of Light. You gain additional super energy from orbs of power you pick up. While your super energy is full, picking up an orb of power overcharges your super, causing you to gain a burst of healing when cast and a bonus to your super damage. At maximum charge, you will also gain an overshield. So this build is going to revolve around us doing a lot of damage in a boss fight, for example. This is where I would use this build. Now, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the build here, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new here. I appreciate each and every one of you stopping by and watching the video. Without further ado though, let's get into the build. So in our subclass here, for our super, we're going to be wanting to run Blade Barrage. This is the best super, in my opinion, for hunters on the solar subclass. You're going to be able to do the most damage pairing it with Star Eater Scales. For our abilities here, the class ability, I prefer to run Gambler's Dodge, as you can get your melee ability back. However, you can run whatever you want. For the jump, again, personal preference, I prefer triple jump. For our melee here, I like to run Knife Trick, as you have the ability to hit as many targets as you can with Knife Trick, and you're able to scorch them on impact. For our grenade here, I like to run solar grenades. They are my favorite solar nade outside of fusion nades when I'm running a warlock build. For our aspects here, we're going to start off with On Your Mark. Precision final blows grant you and nearby allies increased weapon handling and reload speed for a short duration, which stacks up to 3 times. And then activating your class ability immediately grants all stacks of On Your Mark. So anytime you dodge, you will get 3 stacks of On Your Mark, increasing your weapon handling and reload speed. The next one is Knock 'em Down. Your solar supers are enhanced. Deadshot Golden Gun has increased damage resistance, Marksman Golden Gun has increased duration, and Blade Barrage launches more projectiles. This is perfect to pair with Star Eaters, as our goal is to get as much damage with our super as possible. And while Radiant, final blows with your equipped throwing knife fully refund that melee energy. So if you are Radiant, you are able to get your throwing knives back. This pairs perfectly with our first fragment here, Ember of Torches. Powered melee attacks against combatants make you and nearby allies radiant. So if you throw your knife at an enemy, then dodge with Gambler's Dodge to get that back, you will be radiant, and then you could get a kill, and you'll have your knife back instantaneously. Our second fragment here is Ember of Solace. Radiant and restoration effects applied to have an increased duration. So you get a little bit more leeway with throwing that next knife out to get it back on that refund. Thanks to Knock 'em Down. Our third fragment here is Ember of Searing. Defeating scorched targets grants melee energy. Again, we're going to be getting our knife back, and it is also nice to have that recov. Our next fragment here is Ember of Char. Your solar ignition spreads Scorch to affected targets. So anytime we ignite an enemy, we're going to be spreading Scorch to those targets. And we also get a nice increase to Discipline. And then lastly, Ember of Ashes, which allows us to apply more Scorch stacks to targets. For the weaponry in this build, you would definitely want to run with as much solar weaponry as possible, whether that be something like an osmosis weapon in your kinetic slot so you can get that third solar weapon, or running something like a callus mini tool, or a solar energy special weapon, something like Cartesian coordinate maybe, or something like explosive personality, the solar waveframe GL. Regardless, any solar weapon will be helpful in this situation. And then for your heavy, you got things like Galahorn, you got things like bait and switch Cataclysmic if you want to do the most damage in a boss fight. The whole point of this build is to get as much solar synergy as possible, so again, running as many solar weapons as possible is the most beneficial. Looking at our armor mods here though, on our helmet we're going to be running Font of Might as well as Harmonic Siphon, so we're going to be generating orbs of power for our Star Eaters anytime we get kills with our solar weapons, which is why we want to have as many solar weapons as possible. Our Font of Might is going to be procced with Melee Wellmaker. And since we're going to be getting our knives back as much as possible with our dodges and with Knock 'em Down, we're going to be having a lot of melee well spawn thanks to Melee Wellmaker. On our gauntlets and chest piece, we're also going to have Font of Might. Now you may be wondering, why are we stacking 3 Font of Mights? They don't actually stack. Well, they actually do stack with Elemental Time Dilation. Elemental Time Dilation reads as follows. Elemental well mods that grant you time-limited benefits can now stack, increasing the duration of the effect for each copy of the mod you have equipped. So this allows us to stack our 3 Font of Mights for up to 21 seconds of Font of Might. Now, if you have someone in your fire team who is already saying that they're going to create solar wells, you could take off Melee Wellmaker off your cloak and put a 4th Font of Might on for up to 29 seconds of Font of Might, allowing you to get the most DPS in a damage phase against a boss. However, Melee Wellmaker is on there if you are going to be the one dedicated to making solar wells, or if you are in a solo activity. All in all, this build synergizes perfectly when it comes to DPS. You're going to be creating Orbs of Power for your boots with Harmonic Siphon and running solar weapons, therefore overcharging your super to allow you to get the biggest burst of damage with your Blade Barrage. And then you're also going to be creating Elemental Wells with Melee Wellmaker and your knife stacking with Knock 'em Down, allowing you to get those knives back all the time as long as you are not missing, and this allows you to create a ton of elemental wells. This is one of my go-to builds when we're doing damage against a boss in the game right now. So if you guys have tried this build out, please let me know in the comments below. Or if you're going to give this build a go, also let me know how it goes down below. I appreciate you guys making it to the video here. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like on the channel and subscribe to the channel as well. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.